Hello, today we're going to talk about everybody's favorite formula, the quadratic formula. All right, the quadratic formula is just another way of solving a quadratic. So the general form of a quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. That's your general form. So taking, if you know the a, the b, and the c, you can plug it into this formula and get your zeros, or you call your x-intercepts, or whatever you want to call them, your roots. That's what this formula is used for. It's kind of like a shortened way to do it. Most people remember it from some time in their life. It's negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. If you were in my class, we listened to this song that they probably still sing to this day because it gets stuck in your head. I'm not going to sing it here, but we listened to it quite a bit. We just listened to it at random times to make sure they knew they still remembered it. So all I would do here is I'd take the A, the B, and the C, I'd plug them in, and then I'd solve. This little thing underneath the square root is what is called the discriminant. Discriminant is unique, and I'm not going to talk about it here, but it will tell you how many answers you're going to get. If this becomes negative down here, you're not going to have an answer. If you get a positive number, you're going to have two answers. If you get a 0 with this, you'll have one answer. So that's your discriminant. So now I'm going to show you a couple of how to plug this in. All right, before we get to the fun part, we need to do this boring part. So I'm going to show you how to get the A, B, and C, or just where they're at. So I'm going to bring the 4 over, because just like factoring, you have to have everything on one side equal to 0. So now my A is just the first number here, so 3. B is my second number. And C is just that back number without a variable, negative 4. Not too difficult. Over here, same thing. There's nothing in the back. So my A is still whatever's attached to my x squared, 17. If there's nothing there, what is it? So if this was just x squared plus x, so they'd both be, A would be 1 and B would be 1. The sign in front of it goes with it too. As you saw, negative 4, the sign will go with it. My B here is 12, and my C, since there's nothing back there, is just 0. All right, if I had this, if I had 5x squared minus 4, my A would be 5, my B would be 0 because it's not there. All right, the first one we're going to start with is the one we just did to show the A, B, and C. I already moved it though, so my A is 3, my B is 5, and my C is negative 4. So wherever I see a B in here, I'm going to plug in a 5. Wherever I see an A, I'm going to plug in a 3. And wherever I see a C, I'm going to plug in a negative 4. All right, so negative B, so 5, plus and minus square root. Another B, so I plug in 5. That's 5 squared though. Minus 4. Now I have an A. What's my A? 3. And now I have a C. What's my C? Negative 4. So all I've done so far is just plug in numbers. That is it. Now below, it's 2 times 3. Now I solve. Now the way I solve is I do what is the discriminant first, and then I do everything else. You can plug it on the calculator if you have one. But I like doing this first and then solving everything else separately. So this will give me 25, that's 1248, right? 16 times 3 is positive 48, so it gives me, this is going to be an ugly one. 73. Square root. So this gives me -5 plus and minus the square root of 73 over 6. Now, if you can break that down at all, you can. I can break it down, but it's not going to simplify anything, so I'm not going to. All right, our next example here. Our A is 8, our B is -2, and our C is -1. So we just plug in everything. So we start at the top. So I have a negative, now I have to put in my B. But I have a -2 here. So when I plug a negative into something that's already negative, it becomes positive. Plus and minus, square root, -2 squared minus 4. What's my A? 8. What's my C? -1. All over 2 times 8. And now I solve. I do what's in here first. So -2 squared is 4. -1 times 4 is -4 is 4. Times 8 is plus 32. So this one's going to be much better than the last one. So that gives me 36. So, how do I want to write this? I'll write it like this. So, it gives me 2 plus and minus the square root of 36 over 16. Right? Now 36 is a perfect square root. So this becomes 2 plus and minus 6 over 16, which then becomes 2 plus 6 over 16 and 2 minus 6 over 16, which gives me 1/2 and -4 over 16, which is -1/4. But let me rewrite that over here real quick, just to see it. So the 2 you'll write out is 2 plus 6 over 16. Combine those, you get 8 over 16, which is 1/2. The other one you're going to write off is 2 minus 6 over 16, which gives you -4 over 16, which simplifies down to -1/4, if you didn't see it down there. So this is a complicated formula. It's not that hard to get through it if you have clean numbers, but at the end you have to remember to combine everything too to get actual stuff. Alrighty, let's do our next one. A is -3, B is -10, C is 5. Just plug everything in. So B, negative, but then I'm putting in -10, so that becomes positive. Plus and minus the square root of -10 squared minus 4 times -3 times 5 over 2 times -3. Once again, need to find my good purple marker. Do what's in here. So -10 squared is 100. -4 times -3 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60. So I have a square root of 160. So 10 plus and minus the square root of 160 over -6. Now, all right, so since you got the square root of 160, that is not, it can be reduced. You can actually take a 16 out of it. So square root of 16 times the square root of 10. So it gives me 4 square root of 10. So switch that over here. So 10 plus and minus 4 square root of 10 over -6. Now you can simplify this even more. They both have a common factor of 2. This, and this all have to have the same common factor. So what was originally your b up front, your coefficient, and your denominator all have to have the same factor. they can all be factored. You can factor 2 out of all of them. So you get 5 plus and minus 2 square root of 10 over negative 3. And that is your answer. All right, last one here. The 6 is on the wrong side, so I have to subtract to move it over. Always make sure you just go through this small little process, because if you put 6 in, you're going to get completely the wrong answer. And that's what a lot of people like to do, is just do that completely wrong and say, oh, that's 6. No, it's negative 6. There's a big, big difference. There we go. Now let's plug everything in. We'll go a little bit faster because this is the 4th example, 6 overall. So negative 4 plus and minus the square root of 4 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 6. So it's 16, 12, 72. Gives me 88. So this becomes the square root of 88 plus and minus negative 4 all over 2 times 3, which is 6. That's how I usually do it. This is my shorthand way. So now that 88 can be simplified. I can take a 4 out of it. It's 2 square root of 22, and that's just 2 and 11, so there we go. So we rewrite this as negative 4 plus and minus 2 square root of 22 over 6. And simplify those all down, and I get negative 2 plus and minus 22 over 3. And there you go. All right, this has been the quadratic formula. I hope it helped, and